This water bottle is on the screen.
Thugjitsu master and the squid.
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 Whew. Whew.
Sound effects are popping.
Sound effects popping here on Thugjitsu Master and Squid Show. Sometimes we might just get a standing ovation
Yeah. You're welcome.
because we're back.
You're welcome.
Thugjitsu Master and Squid back.
You're welcome.
We back here. Another edition. A lot happened in the world of mixed martial arts. We're back. You've been busy PFL, and I've been busy Pluto TVing. And right there, pointing at all my animals and such around my apartment.
All the fans.
All the fans everywhere. Been a busy week. Been a busy couple weeks in the world of mixed martial arts. Every single fight promotion is probably going to be covered on this week's show.
Every single one?
Every one worth talking about.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of an entirety of the world. Yeah, those.
The big five: UFC, Bellator, Combate, PFL.
PFL makes the big five. I like that.
It's probably 4 or 5 right now.
I think it should be, but
It's a crowded space.
That's saying something for a league that's only been out for a season, only one season completed.
Well, the pure amount of money that PFL is paying fighters and the excitement that the fights are bringing, and they're on ESPN. There's a lot of factors in being in the top 5.
Yeah.
What's your distribution deal? What are you paying the fighters? What is the overall, how the fighters being treated, the quality level of the fighters? There's a lot of factors in being considered a top 5 promotion in the world.
And who determines this top 5?
I just did.
Oh, okay.
I just did.
So you have a lot of factors in your considerations.
There is a lot of factors to be taken in. It's been an ever-flowing 2 through 6 for the last 15 years. One has been pretty much locked down by the UFC for a long, long time.
Yeah, since Pride went.
There was a small amount of time where either Pride or Strikeforce took the number one.
I don't know if Strikeforce is ever number one.
Strikeforce, I thought, had it for like 6 months. Like 5-6 months. They were
When?
like, when they were having all the big fights on like Showtime, I thought they were like really making good fights. Right around the time they got purchased, I thought they were right in the right spot. They had.
Wasn't it Kimbo? No, it was.
No,
Kimbo
they
was
had.
at Elite XC.
They had Frank Shamrock, Hensel Gracie, Phil Baroni. They had the heavyweight tournament that Cormier won.
Yeah.
They were putting on really, really good fights. Gilbert Melendez was doing his thing. Dan Henderson, Jake Giles fought.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Guess.
that was the closest I saw since Pride, where another company was even close to the number 1 spot.
Yeah, I guess they were close. They had their run going, and they had some weight classes of theirs were really competitive with the UFC's guys.
Yep.
So, yeah, I concede that fact.
Scott Coker does a pretty good job in creating heavyweight divisions and creating hype around the sport of mixed martial arts. I think whatever promotion he touches, he's only really touched 2. They both really good. I don't know if it's a Coker thing or he just was in the right place, right time with the right fighters and the right deals and
Give Coker
backing.
all the credit. Give Scott all the credit.
Yeah, Scott's great.
He can take it.
Yeah. So we're going to cover all the bases. There was some great UFC fights last weekend. Quick
Are you
ones.
drunk?
A little tipsy.
Okay. No, we're not drunk.
No.
We don't drink. We're just kidding. I mean, we drink, just not on the show. We don't do that.
Fight Party Live is our drinking show.
I'm drinking water right now. You guys don't know what kind of water this is. I'm not giving anybody any sponsorship deals.
So you've been busy PFLing. A lot has been happening in the whole world of mixed martial arts. How's PFL going?
PFL is going. It's going well. We're in the second round of the regular season. So everybody's getting their second fights. We had the little women's lightweights and the men's welterweights compete last week, and boom, shakalaka laka boom.
John Howard.
John Howard. Doomsday.
Probably
Howard.
the most, probably the biggest moment for me in PFL history was that the way it, like, the most holy FS shit fuck moment I've had in the PFL was that fight. For me,
Okay.
that was the biggest, like, oh my God.
Man, John Howard can crack. Like, and then I believe when Rogan and I were talking, I think that might be a quote from Rogan. Like, John Howard can crack. And I mean, we all knew that. I honestly thought he was going to add more leg kicks to his game. Maybe he would have if it would have lasted longer. But Ray Cooper knows what it's like to get hit by Ray Cooper now. Because John Howard Ray Coopered him.
Got RC'd.
Yeah. And Howard's a dangerous man. He came down from middleweight.
Yep.
He's comfortable at welterweight.
I think it's the proper weight class for the man.
Yeah, I agree. So, mute me for a second. I'm gonna cough.
Contagious right off the bat.
I like all this technology.
So I'm looking at the results. I watched all the fights. Some good ones. Obviously, we just mentioned John Howard, Ray Cooper. Finished him in the first round.
Man, can we take a look at that real quick? Just
Yeah.
like. And oh, did you see that?
I did. I watched it quite a bit. It's a good fight.
It was a great fight.
It's a great fight. John Howard, he deserves it. John Howard's been around the sport forever. He's been constantly fighting.
He's fought some of the best in the world.
His record's like 28-15 now or something, and he's paid his dues. And he ended up number 2 on SportsCenter that night.
That's cool.
That is super cool.
That's something like
you might not get that in some other fight promotions, and there was a lot of eyes on that promotion and the fight and that night, and he was the one that brought the most excitement because we saw a couple decisions, a lot of finishes though.
Yeah,
but
we
not
only saw 2 decisions, right?
But the finishes were pretty good.
Yeah, the finishes were all solid.
The only ones that were kind of slow was the Zhao Jefferino fight. Was a little slow fight.
Distance.
Yep.
I think Zhao. I wouldn't say ring rust because technically he still looks sound, but he looked like he started to get slow. He looked winded. He looked a little not rusty, but just not comfortable in there. Not used to pushing his lungs, getting that lung stretch. Because Zeffarino, we know how dangerous he is. We know how complete his game is, but he just seemed to slow down after the first round, and he wasn't able to stay on the gas.
Yeah, and then our main event or final fight of the night, Magomed Karamov, showed a little bit of, I wouldn't say weaknesses, but there's an opportunity for someone to beat him, I think.
Yeah,
I think he showed. I after the fight, I spent some time looking at some of his losses, and he can be beaten. He hasn't been beaten yet in the PFL. He has 5 losses on his record, 4, I believe, by submission. So I think there is a way to get caught because there was a moment where Curtis had a guillotine, and if he would have just been able to secure that position,
half guard or something.
Some half guard, full guard, roll him over onto mount. I think his hands were in the right place. The choke was deep. It was deep under Magomed's chin. Just couldn't finish it.
Yeah, Magomed did create the scramble that he needed to get out. The thing with the fight with Chris Curtis is Chris Curtis wasn't intimidated. He wasn't afraid. There was nothing about it that he was too concerned with. But I also think going in there, he having the experience of being there with Magomed, he was able to learn some things that he definitely did not know going in. I mean, you don't know a man until you fight him. But he knows the adjustments he has to make now, and they're fighting again next. Whether Chris Curtis is usually a slow starter, so that's one concern for me in the playoff format.
Yep.
With the first round being the round that counts, should it go to a decision and it's a draw. But at the same time, Curtis does know what adjustments he needs to make. Magomed Karamov won the fight, and there are less options or obvious adjustments for him simply because he won. I'm sure he sees some things that he can improve in that fight. I see some things that he can improve in that fight, but the onus is on him now because Curtis is a smart fighter. He's got a strong team behind him, and he knows what he's facing in Magomed Karamov. So to come back out there in just a few weeks or just a few months, early October, he's got time to go to the drawing board, write up a plan, work on a plan, drill it, and try to affect it once those two step in the cage in October. And I don't put it past Chris Curtis to get himself a W coming out of that fight.
Yeah, I think there's a big advantage for both guys in an instance where you fight each other and you're going to fight again because there's not as much mystery anymore of what the guy feels like, what he smells. Every part of fighting someone you've already experienced with that person, so the ice is a bit broken. And you have a chance, the fans have a chance for a much better second fight, even though the first fight I thought was great, and it was a 3-0 landslide victory for Magomed. There were moments for Curtis, and I think he has chances now to exploit those and go back. And now, because you saw in the fight in the third round, he was trying stuff. I think he realized the fight was over, but maybe he realized that they're probably going to fight again, and this is learning. You can learn for the next fight.
Yeah. I don't know if he realized where they were going to be sitting in the standings, but like the thing is, he doesn't want to lose that fight, So he presses the action. He didn't like the way the fight played out. He wasn't liking it during the fight. I think he did a little too much of talking in the sense of let's fight when he should have been working on getting out of position.
Yep.
Put more effort into that at that time. But when he did have his opportunities, he did press the action. He did come forward on Magomed. He did back him up, which we don't see happening a lot. Magomed will circle, even if he's backing up, take back the center of the cage. But Curtis, his footwork, his boxing, that southpaw stance, he's able to mirror Magomed and kind of walk him down a lot. That's a fight I'm looking forward to in the playoffs because that's going to tell me a lot. And like I said, Chris Curtis does start off slow, but that could be very different when you're facing a guy who's the last person that you fought and you know what it is that he brings to the table. A lot of guys start off slow because they're trying to feel out their opponent. They're trying to get a gauge on their range, on their speed, on what techniques they like to use, on how effective they are, and where they can find their openings. He knows a lot of that now. Some things may change, but picking that up in the time span of the fight happening and the next fight that they're going to have, and no opponents being in between that, it's one camp. There's very little that's going to change.
It's a long 5-round championship fight, pretty much. With about a month or two in between, but you get that 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, and that's coming up October. What is that? 11th? I can't remember the date.
It could be October 11th. We could find that out. And then I guess the fight that we didn't cover, but had a lot of eyes on it, was 2-time Olympic gold medalist in judo, Kayla Harrison, remaining undefeated, getting herself into the playoffs with a rather easy win over Morgan Fryer. Finished her with an Americana or key lock.
Yeah. A really nasty one, too. It was kind of reminiscent of the Kimura that Kelvin Tiller hit on Muhammad Duriz, in that she isolated that arm with her entire body, stepped over the leg, and it was just 155 pounds of Kayla Harrison versus Morgan Fryer's left arm.
It's very hard if you don't have the grappling ability. against a girl like Kayla.
Matt, like that really sucks for Morgan Fryer because she gets Sarah Kaufman, then she gets Kayla Harrison, and then it's kind of like Juma Bekturjan last season, who got Andre Harrison and then Lance Palmer. Bao Yin Kang this season, he got Nathan Schultz in the first round. You know who he's getting next?
Wait.
The last guy to beat Nathan Schultz, Islam Mamedov.
Islam Mamedov was one of the guys you don't want to fight in that whole way, like in that weight class. He is very tough. I think he's one of the toughest guys in the whole tournament.
I think he's the one to beat. Nathan Schultz is the returning champion, but I mean, Islam did not lose last season. He bowed out of the playoffs due to injury.
Because he didn't want to go against his teammate,
Speculation,
right?
right?
They don't like to fight each other.
I mean, that
he
makes
looked
sense
good.
to me.
He looked good. It's a lot of money on the line, but you see the pride too.
Yeah,
Respect.
yeah. This thing is about less about money. I mean, the money is This is definitely a nice bonus, but like nobody goes. Not nobody, but the true desire to go into fighting doesn't come from the dollar amount that you could potentially win. Like, you do this because you love it. Like, fighting isn't a job, you know? Like, people don't do this because there's money in it. They do it because they like it, and yeah, there is some money in it. You can make some money, you can earn a living, but you have to love this game to do it. This is not like going to an office cubicle and punching a clock every day.
That's what I do. You don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. That's why we have a podcast.
I don't mind doing it. My bosses are watching. I love my job. Pluto TV, free TV. Check it out. That's what I do. So to keep moving here, so PFL killed it. There's a little bit of a break right now, right?
Yeah, for the women's lightweights and the men's welterweights, they're done for the season.
Yep.
Their season is set. Their playoff brackets are set. And next we have the featherweights and the lightweights coming up. That's July 25th, ESPN 2 and ESPN Plus, Thursday night. So, guys, check it out. I will be on the mic with fellow UFC veteran and legend, former UFC champ, heavyweight and light heavyweight, Randy the Natural Couture.
Yep,
And last season's winner of the light heavyweights, Sean O'Connell, will be the play-by-play commentator. So, guys, tune in because we're going to kill it, and the fight's going to be awesome.
Yes, that's July 25th, 5:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and then it switches over at 9 p.m. to ESPN 2. That
Those
takes
are Eastern
place.
times.
Those are Eastern times, add 3 or minus 3, depending on where you're at. From New Jersey, this is featherweights and lightweights. Some good matchups: Chris Wade, Ahmed Aliev, then Lance Palmer, Luis Rafael Laurentino. Gonna be a good fight. Rashid Magomedov, Nate Andrews. I don't know much about Gadzi Rabadanov.
Rabadanov, yes. Rabadanov, he won his last fight. I can't remember who he fought.
He won a decision, I remember, but he's fighting Daniel Pineda.
Daniel Pineda from Houston, Texas. I've trained with Daniel quite a bit, and he is a UFC veteran.
And then Loic Radzhabov.
Loic
Radzhabov against Zlaz
Ilias Gibon.
There's some hard-ass names in the PFL.
Jerome. He's a French kid from
We talked about the top 5 fight promotions. They're probably number 1 on hardest to say names and most longest amount of characters in people's names.
And most Magomeds.
Then a fight I'm actually really excited about, a good test for last year's champion, Nathan Schulte against Ramsey Nijem. That's a really good fight. Nijem got the walkover win, got the 3 points.
He did. His opponent didn't make weight. Nathan Schulte, the returning champion, he had a tough fight in front of him. We
UFC vet, a guy that has fought in big stages before.
Yeah, I do feel that Ramsey does have to get after it in this fight. Ramsey does have to get after him and look for the finish. I feel like Ramsey he will finish you if he can catch you, if you kind of run into his traps or run into problems with him. But I think he needs to up his aggression, just turn his aggression up a bit, and go after.
Yeah, and
Natan.
Ramsey's not a small guy. 6'1".
Yeah, he's tall.
Got to be
lean,
one of the,
long guy.
the bigger guys in the lightweight division.
Yeah.
Natan, not that tall.
No,
5'6",
Natan's
5'7".
about 5'8". Yeah.
Maybe I'm just taller than I think because I've stood next to him. But then follow that up with Andre Harrison against
Movlid
That's a good fight. If you guys
Kyberlev.
have seen Kyberlev fight,
We
fought for a
haven't
short
seen him
amount of
fight.
time.
We saw him do one technique. That's what we saw.
it took place in one fight. He got himself also number 2 on ESPN Sports Center.
It's a good spot.
It's a good spot. I want to see someone take the number 1 spot this season.
He had a
We
fight
have not
that
seen
lasted
that yet.
10 seconds. 10
Brutal.
seconds.
That was the other moment. If you don't have the John Howard Brada knockout, this is the other moment where it's like, wow. I was live at that one in Long Island, and
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I just walked into the Nassau Coliseum, and I was like, wow, that guy just planted his feet and jumped.
Glad I walked in now and not 10 seconds later.
Yeah,
That cough's still contagious. Huh?
I'm not under the weather, but I'm not above the weather. I'm at the weather.
All right.
I'm right at the weather. Then Islam Mamedov, as we talked about earlier, against Bad Yin Kang.
Bao
Yin Kang. I can't pronounce any of these guys' names right. Any. I'll zoom in. Oh, yeah, Bao. And then 2 more. Alice Gilpin, Freddie Asuncao.
You got those right.
It's easy. Gilpin coming off of a loss to last year's champion Lance Palmer. Got pretty much controlled the whole time. The wrestling was a little too much.
Yeah.
Freddie Asuncao. Haven't seen him fight this season. He hasn't fought.
He's stepping in. I forget who he's replacing.
He is stepping on in. He is from Atlanta, Georgia. 5'7".
Brother of
Rafael
Rafael
Asuncao.
Asuncao.
So you know he's getting the good training in. And then final fight of the night, Steven Seiler, Jeremy Kennedy.
That's who he's stepping in for. Damon Jackson. The victim of Movlid's 10-second knee.
Can't fight for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Rough.
His suspension is too long for him to come back.
Damn. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough life. And
It's
then
fight life.
That is fight life. And then this past weekend, UFC had an event. They had some pretty good fights. Jermaine Durandame looked really good. A little bit of controversy, but I don't look at it as controversy. But sometimes main events that end like that with a little bit of leave you with a sour taste in your fight. I'm talking about she clipped Aspen Ladd.
Dropped her.
She fell over, and then Herb started jumping on in pretty much because she was in a bad position with an opponent behind you coming with big strikes. Even though she missed with that one strike, that could have been really, really dangerous for Aspen Ladd.
It could have been. I don't like the stoppage. I personally don't like the stoppage,
Yep.
but I also it's one of those situations where you can't please everybody because we talk about when Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren, people want to complain that the super necessary punches weren't necessary.
Right.
And then it's like Aspen Ladd is rocked, she's stunned, and she looks like she's still in the fight a little bit, but like one punch puts her out.
Yep.
One clean shot makes it a really bad situation.
That's all it takes.
Like I said though, I didn't agree with the stoppage because every fighter will tell you, right? Even the fighters that agree with the stoppage will tell you if they are in that position, let them fight.
Right. I think there's a few things that happened. The fight was so short that Aspen Ladd didn't really show anything to the ref in the time that the fight took place. I understand if maybe that strike took place in the second or third round in like a back and forth fight, maybe a ref would let it go. But they were circling. Aspen got dropped. So as a ref, you're like, this girl didn't show me anything. She just got dropped. She's in a precarious position. This girl looks like a monster that's about to hit her, as in Durandame. So I don't mind the stoppage there. It's just one of those ones, just like, it's not a perfect finish.
Yeah.
But referees do need to keep safety, and if Herb didn't jump in there, that could have been pretty bad for her.
Here's the thing. Let me tell you a little story about safety.
Sure.
I had a gym in the Woodlands, Texas, and this guy comes by my gym one day, and he's asking me if we do weapons, and I tell him no. He's asking me, you gonna do pressure points and things like that? I look at him like he's crazy. No, I'm not wasting my time. I'm doing a private lesson with a 9-year-old girl and a 9-year-old boy and his 11-year-old sister, right? They are drilling and training arm bars. At this point, she arm bars her brother, and the guy at the door tells me, "See, right there, if he bites her, if he bites a leg, she'll let him go. That's what you do in that situation." I'm like, "Yeah, or she just elbow him in his face, right? Or break his arm after he bites her leg."
Yep.
And he goes, "Oh, you don't believe me, do you? Like, you don't believe, like, pressure points and these things, like, I can show you it works." He tells me he can show me it works. So I tell him to hold on a second. I go over to my desk, I grab my clipboard, and I come back with a pen. I go, "Okay, you sign this injury waiver, you can come in here, you can show me it works, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If you bite me or you poke me in my eyes, I'm going to knock every fucking tooth out of your mouth and you can't use my phone." He left. But my point is, if he signed the injury waiver, right, then he's willing to get in there and do that. Every fighter that steps into the octagon signs an agreement to get in there and fight, right? And
you
every
can't
fighter will
use
tell
my
you,
phone.
yeah, no, I let him use my phone. But every fighter goes in there knowing the risk. Every fighter wants, if they're going to be taken out of it, they want to be out of it and have no opportunity to win.
Yep.
And so I get that, and if that's the case, we're talking, I know fighter safety is important. I understand that, right? But as a fighter, you don't want it like taken out of your hands if there is even a possibility that you can come back.
Yep.
You signed up for this, and you know what we like. It's not like there's nobody who signs up to fight. There's nobody who signs a contract in the UFC who does not understand the severity and the possible ramifications of stepping into a cage and having being in a fight. Everybody knows what can happen in a fight, but they still get in there and do it. Right? I understand everything about fighter safety. I agree with fighter safety. I'm just saying, be consistent, and where the fighters are concerned, that's what fighters want. Everybody's going to tell you, if there's any opportunity that you even think that I can win this, or I'm not as hurt as you think I am, then let me be as hurt as you think, as I need to be. So I understand that, but it's one of those things where if we can't have it both ways, like, let's have it one.
Just let Aspen Ladd get knocked out. Right?
Like, Aspen Ladd complained. She was complaining about the stoppage, right? Ben Askren didn't even know what happened. And yes, it's trauma to the brain. You're drinking water with aluminum in it. You know what I mean?
Like, Askren didn't know what happened until he got to the hospital.
Yeah, that's like okay. So my fight with Sam Stout.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Stout knocked me out with beautiful left hook. I was in the middle of a sentence when my consciousness came back to me. I was in the back I was looking at Tyron, talking to the doctor. My ex-wife was back there with us, and I'm talking to Tyron, and I don't even remember what I'm saying, But as I'm saying it, I wake up. Like my consciousness comes back to me, and I was talking to Tyron, and then I look and I see my ex-wife standing there, and I'm like, "What is she doing back here? Why is she back here?" And Tyron says to me, and then he says, the fight's over," and I was like, "What happened?" And he told me, "You got knocked out," and I'm like, then like all of my consciousness comes back to me. I remember Paul Rodriguez being knocked out in a hook and shoot fight, and I remember thinking at that moment, "Oh shit, I got knocked out." I probably asked the same question a bunch of times, and I asked Tyron, I was like, "How many times did I ask you what happened?" And he's like, 5 or 6, and I'm like, I don't remember anything. And after watching the fight, I remember things from the fight, but I think that's because I watched it.
Yep.
That night, what I did remember is being in the locker room, walking to the cage, and then being in that position, sitting in the doctor's chair. I do not remember walking from the cage back to the doctor's office. I do not remember the conversation I had with Stitch. Stitch told me we had a conversation.
Yeah, that's gone.
I have
It's
no
gone.
idea. Right. So, like, it's one of those situations, and that's the brain damage we're talking about. But, like, again, I fought after that. Why? Because
Because that's what you do.
that's what you do.
When you're a fighter, you get knocked out. It's very hard to just transition to something new.
No, it's not that it's hard to transition to something new. It's more that, like, it's like, yeah, okay, I got knocked down. I'm getting back up.
Yep.
I'm gonna do. I still have more in me, and I want this, and I'm gonna do it again. So, it just is what it is. Like this we're not talking, like, we're not talking about knitting quilts.
And speaking of
quilts?
quitting and maybe not quitting too soon, Tito Ortiz called out Ryan Bader. Tito Ortiz is somehow finds himself always back in the news. Never fighting anyone relevant. Never. He's done a good job of creating the senior league or the
Senior league.
Either senior league or like the special interest match. Like I don't know what it is. There is always intrigue behind Tito Ortiz and the Chuck Liddells and the Ken Shamrocks and the
I know what it is. I mean, it's a huge name.
nostalgia.
Tito's the man.
Tito's huge.
Tito's the man.
Tito's huge. He called out Ryan Bader. He also just booked the fight in Combate Americas. Shout out Combate. They're on Pluto TV as well. They're close with us. But it's interesting. He calls out Ryan Bader after he just booked a fight in Combate. Not really talking too much about Alberto Del Rio. Calling out Ryan Bader. He's got a tough fight to work on against Alberto Del Rio.
He's got other things on his mind. I don't know if that's a bigger fight for him. Is there more money? I don't. Sometimes okay. So Tito says some weird shit sometimes. I'm sorry, but
Tito's
he
a
does.
weird dude.
He's a weird dude. He's calling out Ryan Bader, who's under contract with Bellator after he just signed a contract with Combate America, and like that's not
After like not even a year ago, he's talking about Golden Boy being the next thing.
Golden Boy promotion.
Tito doesn't know what is even coming out of his mouth. He can't
hold
really
on.
believe the things he's saying.
But like, what about like hold on, he did say this, right? Like, how is it that like I'm better than I was? What did I forget how many years? I just missed it. But how many years? I'm better than I was so many years ago. I'm better. I'm stronger. I'm younger. Like, how are you younger?
You're not younger. You're not younger. You're the same. You're older. You're not younger. And to Tito's credit, he has won 4 of his last 5. He beat Chuck Liddell. He beat Chelsea. Tito can fight. His last loss coming against Liam McGreary. Then he had a disappointing loss 6 out of 7 fights in the UFC before going over to Bellator. His only win previous to that was Ryan Bader, but he followed that up with a loss to Rashad, a loss to Nah, gonna lost to Forrest Griffin.
Tito can fight.
He can sell fights too. He can sell the
fights. He can make money. If I'm getting into a fight, I'm cool with Tito having my back. If I'm going into a business, I'm probably cool with Tito going into business with Tito. I am not going into a panic room where you have to use logic and discernment to get out with Tito Ortiz on my side. That's the difference.
Yeah, so I just thought that was very interesting. He's telling Ryan Bader he's willing to give him a rematch. Ryan Bader just won one of the hardest tournaments in fighting history. Top 10, I think, most stacked tournament for heavyweights. And Ryan Bader has not lost since his KO loss to Anthony Johnson. That Tito Ortiz fight was 2011. What do you think you're going to... The guy is a two-weight world champion, Tito Ortiz. When was the last time you won a belt, Tito, to think that you can make this fight? Focus on the Alberto Del Rio fight, which is a legit fight. Alberto can fight. He's got like a 9-5 record. I like that he fights in a luchador mask. So he fought Crow Cop. He was the guy that fought Crow Cop in the luchador mask many years ago. That Crow Cop just kneed him,
bounced the shin off his head.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't necessarily know much about Del Rio. I don't know if he's on Tito's level. You can't look past anyone.
Correct.
Right? But 14 fights versus Tito's experience. That's maybe that's why Tito's focus seems to be somewhere else.
Yep. 6'5", 240. One of the most successful WWE wrestlers, was WWE heavyweight champion. So he brings accolades
to me.
But he did fight in Pride.
Hold on, but you're saying he brings accolades? It's like he won a prep rally. Like that's like it's the WWE. They just those things. Those things are decided before they go in there.
Hey, he had 3 wins in Deep. He fought twice in Pride. He had a 5-fight win streak. Win by neck crank, a couple rear naked chokes, a guillotine. So he's got some submission skills. Even when he fought in WWE, he was very submission heavy
against everyone I have not heard of ever.
Yes. He beat Brad Kohler, shoulder injury.
He beat Brad Kohler by shoulder injury.
So submission by
that's the name of the submission, shoulder injury.
I don't know. It brings a little intrigue. It's not. Who are you gonna put Tito against?
Like that guy,
right? That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess somewhere.
Tito's 44.
Tito is probably going to smash him. I don't know much about Del Rios, but it's just likely if it's even worth betting on Tito in that, like if he's under 200, then it's probably worth the bet.
I didn't realize Tito's real name was Jacob Christopher Ortiz. Yeah. He doesn't look like a Jake. To me, if he good old Jake Ortiz, good old JC Ortiz.
Jacob.
You ever call him that?
Just as a joke one time. So Tito's a good dude. He's a friend. You know what I mean? So early in my career, there was a couple times when I went out to Huntington Beach, and I remember he just bought his house out there, and I was out there with him and Rico, and we were training, and that's when I learned his name was Jacob, and it's kind of funny, but he's done a lot for the sport, like Tito is real, like we have things that we don't agree on, and then there's plenty that we do agree on, but like you can't take away what he's done and the skill set that he has. He
held the torch during that the end of the first era into the next era of Dana White and the Fertittas.
Yep.
He was the big guy. He won 5 championships or so in the weight class. More?
Probably more.
His fight with Frank Shamrock still goes down as one of the best of all time.
Yeah. I was there for that.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I
was hanging out with Tito. That's when I met Joe Silva. I was hanging out with Tito when he's dyeing his hair for the fight.
I love that. I love that fight.
I was disappointed. Tito's my boy then. I mean, he's still my boy, but that's kind of around the time we met.
Yeah, that fight did a lot for the sport of mixed martial arts. I feel like the GSPs of the world wouldn't be around without that fight. The stuff that Frank did in that fight to show the well-roundedness and the cardio. The cardio
was the key. And Tito picked up on that. Tito learned that from that fight.
And that progressed the sport and made Tito better.
Yeah.
Because Tito went on a run after that. Tito went on a real run after that. Frank started his issues with the UFC.
Jerry Bolander. Remember Jerry Bolander?
Jerry Bolander was one of the greats. He never got to win a UFC championship, but was a key. He was just a badass.
Yeah.
He was just willing to stand in the pocket with guys. He could wrestle. Was it Militich guy?
No. Lions Den.
Yes.
That was that whole rivalry. Tito beat the brakes off of him and Guy Metzger.
You ever see the Guy Metzger fight where he fought in the rain in King of the Cage?
I fought on that card, so I did not see the fight.
You fought in the rain on that card?
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy Williams. Remember Jeremy Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy Williams, didn't he beat Nick Diaz?
Did they fight? I don't remember.
Or I think Nick beat him twice or something.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I remember that.
These are classic names in the sport of mixed martial arts here.
Yeah. You guys should look these guys up.
These are guys that paved the way.
That Wet and Wild King of the Cage was garbage.
Oh no, he didn't fight. I think of
you thinking? Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Jeremy.
I know what you mean. They fought a couple times, 2 or 3 times, didn't they?
I think they
they fought once outside of the UFC, and then when they got in the UFC, Nick beat the piss out of him.
Jeremy Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, they fought. I believe 3 times. Jeremy won
The first
outside of the UFC, and then he beat him back-to-back times. TKO'd him and then armbarred him. Oh yeah, he fought in IFC, and then
and
they did the yeah. I like
trilogy
that
fight in the UFC.
The trilogy fight. That was
I've never fought someone 3 times, but then everyone that I fought twice, I beat them.
I've only fought one guy twice.
Did you beat him both times?
I draw and I lost a majority decision. We fought twice in a month. This guy Pat Oudenwood, he beat Ally Quinta, armbarred him. Yeah, I had a draw with him, and I thought I won the rematch, and then they gave the decision to him. I had him mounted a couple times. I was like, I made it very grapple fest for the fight.
They didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like grappling, especially back then.
Yeah, I feel like my style would have done really well in like Japan or something. I think they would have appreciated my style. Some places where I fought, especially a lot of times I was fighting hometown guys, and so when you hit the hometown main event guy with the grappling, that's not what people want to watch. They want to see a slugfest or you getting mauled by someone. They don't want to see you hit them with the boring grappling.
Yeah,
that's not what they put their ticket for and all the alcohol they've drank. I wasn't always the style of fights that some people wanted to watch.
Every time I think of grappling, and when people talk about grappling and being boring and whatnot, I just think of I try to think of a fight to compare it to where striking is boring. And there are these 2 heavyweights, and they were actually throwing punches at each other. It's a Bellator. I can't remember. But they were huge, and they gassed in the first minute. And Baroni's back there, and he's screaming, "Stand him up, ref!" as they're throwing at each other because they're so slow and tired. Phil Baroni's still fighting. Go look that guy up.
I was thinking about Phil today, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking of when he beat Dave Monet and was yelling, "I'm the best, I'm the fucking man."
Wait, who what? I forget. It was in Louisiana. I fought on this card. I fought Uno on this card, and it's when Bustamante and Linland fought.
Great fight.
And
that's a great fight.
It was a good fight. Bustamante beat him twice.
I like Bustamante. Most people don't realize champ Bustamante.
Yeah.
Great champ. Well rounded.
Who did he fought? A Russian guy. Dean Thomas fought this guy.
For Omar Asulev?
Asulev, yeah. Omar Suliev.
Yeah.
Suliev.
Yeah.
He lit him up.
And Suliev is a killer.
Yeah.
Suliev was one of the best in the world that time.
Man, if you got Fight Pass, you got any way to go watch a fight, watch Phil Baroni, Omar Suliev. Soulev, I believe. Leiv. But just look at Phil Baroni and
Yeah, look at his record.
Marcel Suliev, and watch that fight.
Suliev's still fighting. I was looking recently.
Really? There's no way.
I don't think he's still fighting, but he had a long career.
And then he shows his last fight is yesterday.
Yeah, AMAR SULOEV. Stopped in 2008, but he had a lot.
Dean Thomas is on there. Dean Thomas is a winner. There, right there.
Wins over Dean Lister, Din Thomas, Yushin Okami,
Yeah,
Murillo
Dean shouldn't
Murillo
have taken that fight.
Bustamante,
Dean Thomas shouldn't have taken that fight. He fought that fight. He was like
Andrei Semenov. He had some really, really legit wins. Lost a decision to Chuck Liddell. Suliev was
that was in Brazil, wasn't it?
very,
Or was that in the UFC? No, the UFC. Okay, Chuck Liddell lost in the UFC.
that was in Uncasville.
Uncasville, Connecticut.
Uncasville.
There's some man. When I fought at Uncasville, there was a guy. So they have this escalator, this long ass escalator that goes. That's way up high. And the night before the fights, there was a guy who was drunk and he was sitting on the railing next to that escalator, and fell over, and he died. Fuck. It's nuts. Yeah, that was nuts. That was way back in the day.
Uncasville.
That's like Uncasville, Connecticut is way out in nowhere too.
Connecticut is all nowhere.
It's
There's
the longest
not a lot
ride from the
there.
airport. I don't know if we flew into New York or like Hartford. Is there an airport in like Hartford? I'm sure
There is, but I would assume you'd either fly into Newark or LGA or JFK.
Okay, yeah, we didn't fly into Newark. I think it was LaGuardia or JFK.
Because you can get there pretty fast. You can get there in an hour, an hour and a half.
That's not fast at all. Not when you're going to like Uncasville.
Good old Uncasville. And then Bellator, they announced their $1 million featherweight tournament with really good matchups. Some names to call out here.
16 man, 8 man.
16 man. Derek Campos against Daniel Strauss, so Strauss gets to be in the tournament. I was hanging out with Strauss last weekend at High Rollers. Strauss is a really cool dude. Really
Strauss
nice.
is real.
He's real, super nice, super cool. Pedro Carvalho against Sam Cecilia. Great fight. Taiwan Claxton against Emmanuel Sanchez. Adam Borix, fresh off a win over the American wrestler Pico. He's fighting Pat Curran. Then Pitbull Freire taking on Juan Archuleta. Finally, Archuleta gets himself a world title fight in the tournament.
So Pico didn't qualify for the tournament because of that loss, or is he in it?
Pico is not in it from what I see. Sal Rogers against Daniel Weichel. Georgie Karakanian taking on AJ McKee. Tough fight for Georgie. AJ is
undefeated
and on his way. Then Dario.
I remember when AJ was just a child, like legit, like a 11-year-old.
Training with his father, huh?
Yeah.
Still undefeated. And then Darian Caldwell, fresh off of his loss to your boy, Henry Corrales, taking on Henry Corrales.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say Kyoshi.
Well, yeah, he fresh off his loss to Horiguchi.
Kyoji Horiguchi.
But he's taking on Henry Corrales. This is
he lost to Kyoji twice.
Twice. Yeah.
Back to back, both promotions. Lost both his belt. Well, lost a chance to Kyoshi's belt and then lost his belt.
The first fight was all Caldwell.
Yeah.
He had it dominated. And he went for a takedown, put his head in a bad position. Kyoji ripped it.
Snatched up that guillotine. And in the second fight, I did not see the second fight.
Second fight was a lot of wrestling from Caldwell. Wasn't doing anything on top. And every chance Kyoji got to strike, he was hitting them. They were against the cage, and Caldwell was like on a low single and just bashing him up. It was pretty dominant. And then if we're talking about major fight promotions, Eddie Alvarez, he got knocked out in the first round of the 1FC. Also, I think $1 million tournament from 1FC. Everyone's just giving out $1 million now. Bellator is giving out $1 million. PFL is giving out $1 million. 1FC is giving out $1 million.
Yeah, PFL is giving it out for 3 fights, not 4.
Yep.
So those are $333,000 fights. Not this $250,000 fight. What's the fight for $250,000 anyway?
So Eddie Alvarez got himself back into the tournament. Someone got injured, and he got himself a spot. Kind of a good move, I guess, from ONE FC. They're going to spend all this money on a guy, throw him back into the tournament. And
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
probably praying for him to win. I think that's what you want.
At least win a fight.
Win a fight. You have some footage to use. I don't think in the trade or the deal, I don't think they, any footage from the UFC is coming over.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Also,
That's why when you see when Askren fought Masvidal, they just kept replaying over and over and over and over the Robbie.
Yeah, and also, didn't Eddie get some percentage of the company or something? He got some.
I wouldn't doubt it. They are doing a thing with like stock options, and I think they're trying to do right by fighters. But really, a lot of that money would only really come into effect if the company got sold, or if they did do dividends, or if the company did go public, which could happen on one of the international exchanges.
Yeah.
Could happen. Could also happen now. They're trying to plant their feet in the U.S. They were talking today about doing a fight in New York City in 2020.
And were they talking to you?
They were talking.
Okay.
I was just reading.
Okay.
They were talking. I was reading LinkedIn.
I don't read good.
Well, whatever. Well, it's all right. You don't have to.
I talk good because I'm smart and stuff.
Bunch of fighters in the UFC calling for a UFC Africa fight.
That guy bugs me out. That'd be dope.
UFC Africa.
That'd be dope.
Usman was really asking for it.
Dope.
I know you're all about going to Africa.
Yeah, because I'm African.
I thought you were Bahamian,
Dope.
but I guess you're also African.
No, I'm African. I just was born in the Bahamas. Like, we're all African.
Makes sense.
Like, we're just African. Like, let's call it what it is.
So UFC Africa.
Wait, us black people. That's what I mean. I don't just mean everybody.
Hey, and you know who's going to be on that UFC Africa card?
Usman, Israel Adesanya, Ngannou.
Dalsha Langambula. You know my guy.
Champ Dalla.
Champ Dalsha.
Champ Dalsha.
I like my Champ Dalsha.
That kid, that dude is explosive, powerful. He's still young, but man, I can't wait to see him develop. If he is dedicated to the sport,
Yep.
oh, he's going to be a beast. Because he doesn't in the fight that it was only one round, but he didn't necessarily look like that muscle mass is something that sucks up his oxygen and slows him down. So I'm really impressed with him, and I can't wait to see him fight again.
Then another fight that got announced for some of you kickboxing fans, the rematch of Rico Verhoeven against Badr Hari.
Badr Hari.
Badr
I
Hari.
was thinking about Badr Hari when he fought John Howard.
Badr Hari is no fucking joke in the kickboxing world. If you guys are kickboxing fans, he is one of the best heavyweights of all time.
Yeah.
106 wins, 13 losses,
Ain't
92
nobody
knockouts.
fought it in Hari.
And he is coming off he had a win over Hezi Georges, and then before that he fought Rico Verhoeven, and Verhoeven I think kicked him in the arm, and then he couldn't fight anymore. Something happened to his arm, maybe split his bicep or something. Yeah, it wasn't a good look, and then Badr was out for a while. But they're doing that fight in Netherlands in December, which is going to be huge for the kickboxing world. That is the two best heavyweights of the last, probably two of the best 5 heavyweights in the history of kickboxing. Verhoeven is the new face of a name in the heavyweight kickboxing world. We've seen guys of the Sammy Schiltz and the Michael McDonalds of the world, and there's been some great K1 kickboxers, and Glory Kickboxing has done a pretty good job being the torch bearer for kickboxing now.
Glory is the best kickboxing promotion out, in my opinion, for sure.
They are, and if you guys like. Another little drop here. Download Pluto TV. Check out the Glory Kickboxing channel. I oversee the programming on that channel. So we now have the live undercard fights on that channel. which is really fun. Free undercard fights.
Squid sits in his cubicle at Pluto TV and puts these fights on for you guys to watch. And if y'all don't watch it, you're disrespecting Squid.
I know.
Don't be disrespecting my dog.
We got some good stuff. We got the Combate Americas channel, the Fight channel. Hopefully we'll get a Bellator channel going at some point now that Viacom owns Pluto TV. So really good content coming. Glory. Really good content coming down the pipeline. Some other ones that I can't announce yet, but there's going to be some really good fights on the platform soon. So that's a big part of my job is picking and choosing what plays, when it plays, where the commercials air, and yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. What else did we want to cover on this? Uriah Faber got himself a win. We mentioned earlier he was calling out Henry Cejudo. Not sure that fight's ever going to happen. I do like the style matchup. I feel like style matchups have kept Uriah away from a title since Dominic Cruz pushed him far away from it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dominic, it was the style matchup that just he hasn't been able to figure out since the first time they fought.
One thing that I would say is for a long time Uriah Faber was the bar, right? And he got passed up.
Mike Brown.
Like Mike Brown, like even Anderson Silva. Like it potentially and possibly. I mean, if John Jones sticks around long enough, he's going to happen to him also. You know, like that's the thing about being in the bar. Everybody's gunning for you. They're training to attain the skill set that you have and surpass you. And I like, even though the Henry Cejudo fight is a good style matchup where Uriah is concerned, it may still be that he was the bar for so long, and now the bar is raised because of him.
Yep.
That's one thing about being the bar. Once it gets raised, you can still compete because everybody can't jump the Olympic height, you know. But doesn't mean that you may never be champion again, even with the right style matchups.
You may never. Sometimes you can lose, and then all these other fights start happening, and you end up further away from that title than you like. For example, right now, who knows if Tyron will get a shot again? That 170-pound division, when he lost and Kamaru went in, that is killers, that weight class. You had Ben Askren jump on the scene. Now you have Masvidal jumped on the scene even more. He's been around the scene forever, but now he gets to really show himself to he's shining now to the public. And then you have the Robbie Lawler has a fight coming up, so
Cole, you gotta put Colby in there.
You gotta put Colby right in there. Damian Maia's right there. An injury, like, because Tyron pulled out of his fight with Robbie. One more of those, you may never, like, you may wait a while to get that title.
That's happened to a couple guys.
It could happen.
I can't think of exactly who right now, but that's happened quite a few times.
You might have to wait, try to pull a Mike Bisping and just hope that you can jump in on late notice and be the number 8 and just jump in and beat the champ. Because there's so many good guys, especially in the 170-pound division, that you can be so far away from it. Or especially the way that McGregor kind of slowed down. There's certain guys that can slow down weight classes. They can hold on to the belt and slow down the championships that are being given around and really screw the timing that it takes to get that title. Your time might pass.
That's true, but fortunately, the welterweight class is not one of those weight classes right now that can be slowed down like that. There's just too much action. There's too many high-profile guys there, and there are too many explosive things happening in that division for them to really, for me to see the UFC putting that division on hold. I could see the interim title. Should Kamaru Usman get hurt, I could see an interim title fight happening and maybe even being defended if he was hurt for long enough, and him being stripped with the guarantee that he'll have the first shot at it coming back.
Could could totally happen. So if we look at so I look at the welterweight division I was talking about. Tyron Woodley, wrestler, striker. Colby Covington, wrestler. Masvidal, striker. Rafael dos Anjos, pretty well-rounded. Darren Till, striker. Stephen Thompson, striker.
I'm wondering if
It's an interesting weight class of like really good strikers and really good grapplers.
I'm wondering if Masvidal and Colby would fight each other now.
I think they mentioned that they would. I think Colby said he would.
Okay.
Colby said, we fight to win titles, and there's a lot of money on the line, and we spar every day in the gym. Why don't we just do it if we're going to do it? Because it makes sense. Both guys want the money. Both guys want the title. You don't want to pity-pat, like step away and let not have that fight happen. It's good for the
That's
sport. It's
weird
good
to
for
me.
the fans.
I get that, and I understand that.
The
and,
rankings are making it happen
like,
almost.
these guys used to be roommates. You know,
That's life is crazy like that.
I get that.
It's that big gap of 170 to 185, 155 to 170 that that's a killer's den.
It ruins friendships. No, I'm just kidding.
It
Maybe it does.
definitely could.
Shoot, it ruined Rashad and John's friendship.
Yeah. They started to get really personal during the talks before that fight. It got a little personal. They were talking about sparring sessions, and I don't think they're close anymore.
I thought they squashed it at some point, but I don't remember for sure.
John's an interesting cat.
There's a lot of interesting cats in the mixed martial arts world.
Well, anyone that's gonna go and dedicate their life to training and cutting weight and fighting other people and making all of your money either from fighting or fighting related things, a special type of person to do that.
You're special.
That's what I was getting at. It's like, I was a fighter and now I work near fighting. Hello.
Don't talk about me like that. So is that all of the fight info? All the fight news?
Kinda. When I look at the world of what's happening right now, we don't really. There's some talks of Khabib. Khabib keeps trying to get a Floyd Mayweather fight, which it's one of those ones I say right now. I'm like, I don't know if I'd watch it, but if I woke up tomorrow morning and Dana White said we booked this fight, I'd be super ecstatic. But
Okay, it's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Like let's not even pretend to entertain like bullshit. Because Khabib and Floyd Mayweather, it's never going to happen because in a boxing match, Khabib gets fucked up. In an MMA fight, Mayweather gets destroyed. So it's like this. Seriously, like this stop being stupid.
Well,
Like if anybody is watching this show and you're really interested in Khabib and Floyd Mayweather fighting, just go sit in the bathroom and read a comic book.
Well, the same way they made tension.
Like that doesn't even make any sense.
The same
Doesn't
way they
make any
made
sense.
Tenshin
Just
Nasukawa
like
fight
that
happen.
didn't make any sense.
Didn't make
and
sense.
it wasn't even a real fight.
That was a horrible fight.
That wasn't even a real fight. It was fake. It was fake. Like Tenshin Nasukawa and Floyd Mayweather was fake. You heard it here first or last. But it was
I don't
fake.
know. That fight was 7 months ago. Probably not the first person to say that.
It was fake.
Fake. Think that's as far as that's really all we got going on. A lot of fight stuff. PFL next weekend gonna be.
PFL next week on 25th. That's going to be really good. I'm excited about those fights. I'm excited about this round of the regular season because this is when you have to perform, man. Like there are people who everybody comes in, they tell you they don't care about the points. You care about $1 million. I tell you that right now.
Care about those points if
I
you're at that second fight. You need those points to get in the playoffs.
And you're concerned. I mean, once here's how it works, right? So people will tell you that they're not concerned about it or whatever, and it's very hard to think about scoring extra points when you're inside the cage and you're concerned with someone trying to beat your face in. Okay, like there's nothing else on your mind except what is in front of you. But here's the thing. Once that is in your brain, once it's in your brain that I need at least 5 points, I need to finish this fight in the second round. You will remember that in between rounds. You'll probably even think about that specific thing a few times during the round, but you want to win the fight. That's number one. You're going to be trying to win. And once it's logged in your brain, that mentality of trying to score those 5 points is going to be there. You're still going to be trying to win the fight, but you're not going to do anything stupid. You're not going to be crazy and wild, but you're a little bit more aggressive. If your style is a hold back kind of style, you're going to put pressure. And should you get past the point where you know that you are you're out of the playoffs unless somebody else gets hurt or something like that, still you want to win the fight. So you're still going to be fighting hard. Like, there's nobody in fighting that does this just for the dollar. I mean, not at this level. Not in the top 5 promotions. The 5 that Squid has decided are the top 5 promotions. Because Squid's usually right about this kind of thing. Okay? So there's nobody in those promotions that doesn't want to win those fights. And having that in the back of your brain, that's going to really push you forward. And you will try to do everything you can to ensure that you get into that tournament for that $1 million. Because $1 million is nice. Trust me, I know 6 millionaires now, and they all seem to be enjoying it. Especially Sean O'Connell.
Is he balling and just trying to spend it all as fast as possible, or no?
Nah.
He just has like a very like weightlessness to his like demeanor. He's just very worry free.
Yeah.
I get
Just
that.
Like his bills are paid. Sean ain't worried.
And he's got a good gig.
And he's got a good gig. He's got a great gig.
Sean is on ESPN. We gotta get him on this show. He hasn't been on this show yet.
We'll get Sean on this show. We'll get Sean on this show next week.
That'd be great. Maybe either preview something. Maybe we can, when you guys are in Atlantic City, maybe we can get a little chat going with you guys.
Sean, we're going to have a talk, my friend. We're going to have a talk.
And I guess that's it for the Thugjitsu Master and Squid show. A little over an hour of
recap.
Amazing content.
And some fight recaps. So, guys, we are set up. We've been investing in equipment and putting things together. And now we are ready, prepared, and we're going to be coming at you all day, every day.
Yep, we're going to try to start doing a little bit of live content, too.
We're going to start doing a little bit of live content, too.
Maybe next week we can do that show live. That'd be pretty sweet.
Next week, we're going to do this show live. That's going to be sweet.
It's going to be super good. And giveaways.
And giveaways.
We can maybe give some tickets away for PFL next week.
Tickets for the PFL next week in Atlantic City at the Ocean Casino Resort.
Free tickets.
Free tickets.
Get to meet this guy.
You get to meet this guy.
Not this guy. I won't be there. I don't think I'll be there.
And if you don't meet me in the arena, hang out. Hang out after the fights. We'll be in the Ocean Resort Casino. Casinoing it up.
It's a beautiful casino.
It's so dope. It's super dope. It's a really dope casino. I don't know why it doesn't do well. Probably because of where it is, but still, it's a super dope casino.
If they could just take that casino and put it in like Vegas, it would perform really well. It's a beautiful casino.
It's a beautiful casino. Great food, great games, great staff. But Atlantic City, man, it was one of the fight capitals of the world. I mean, it is a place where people would go for good fights. I know Trinidad fought there a bunch of times. Felix Trinidad is what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I said Trinidad as if you guys should know. Felix Trinidad fought there a bunch of times, packed out arenas there.
Puerto Rico.
AC needs to get back on the map, man. That city needs some support too. Like,
some of the hurricanes kind of destroyed New Jersey and some of those party things, and Donald Trump had some doing, and
he had a lot of
taking
doing.
jobs away from Atlantic City, and the whole
And
infrastructure.
bankrupting a lot of stuff
It
there.
bankrupted the whole city between Trump and a couple other natural disaster things that happened. Atlantic City got like the brunt of it. It got the short end of the stick on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really get a chance to prosper after that. I think it'll probably come back. Also, some of the fight promotions like Ring of Combat, they moved all their shit into New York. They were doing shows in Atlantic City. Now a lot of their fights are in New York.
Yeah, especially since New York allowed MMA and they don't have to travel so far.
It's changed the game.
It has changed the game. But there aren't any really great casinos in New York. Not like until you get upstate. And they're still not that great. They can't have all the games. They don't have craps. How do you have a casino and not have craps? What's wrong with you?
So that's our show. Make sure you guys check out, follow, subscribe on our YouTube channel where you're likely watching this. Give us, answer any questions in the comment section.
And we're going to start getting you guys, we're going to start having conversations with you guys, especially when we go live. So, like, be ready to call in.
Yeah, and check out his new podcast, Sup Fam.
Sup, fam.
First episode is featured in the featured spot. Him and Dustin Poirier talking about life, fighting, life as being a champion of the world.
Got another one coming up with Mike Brown. I'm not very good with technology, so I'm going to get Squid to teach me some stuff about that.
Yep.
And put that one up, too. Mike Thomas Brown, Coach of the Year. What? I got cool friends.
He just called me cool indirectly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's my friend, too.
And that's our show. There's our song.
Thugjitsu master and the squid.
Thugjitsu master and the squid.
Thugjitsu master and the Squid. We give it to you in the way we live.